Tuesday. I am your host, Tracy Kraushorn. This is Wayne
Good
Kraushorn,
morning.
and we are so excited to be here with you.
Seem to be having Wi-Fi issues, which I think everybody is these days at home.
Right.
Especially being a holiday week with the kids home and, eating up bandwidth everywhere. And so I guess, doing pretty good. Like all of you parents out there trying to figure out what to do with your kids and how to keep them from killing each other. So, that's hopefully this is coming to it brings up a good point, and I think a lot of you guys see this. The network providers, they are set up for home during the day, really having a certain amount of bandwidth, and then most people being off in offices and broadcast is coming through.
Hopefully.
All right. Broad range of things, right? So it could be anything from what they call an audit or a discovery, where it handles just the basics. So it's looking at your antivirus and firewall licenses and making sure that they're active and they're in place. Or do you have a firewall? It's amazing how many people we find don't have firewalls. Right. It could be your cloud backups and, making sure they're connected and they're backing up on a regular basis. It can be, just making sure that your PCs are up on not only Windows 10, but they're also up on the latest and greatest updates and patches. It's Wi-Fi security. Is your Wi-Fi secure? It's so it's a wide range of things that is really just kind of everything at a very basic level. And often these are free. And, a lot of businesses use this as kind of a quick sanity check of, is their current IT provider doing their job? Or maybe they don't have an IT provider and they want to just see how are they meeting the basics? And so that's kind of it's typically a free service. But then it can be a full network security assessment. Now that's a much bigger deal. That typically we use tools to do this, which go and do a full evaluation, and we look for things like, and not to get over the top technical, but open listening ports on computers and firewalls that could be vulnerable to hackers. It could be enabled logins from ex-employees that were never disabled. And it's amazing how often that happens. Yeah. And it can be, private information or credit card information that is stored in unauthorized places. It could be password management. Are the passwords weak? Are they being changed? Is there any policy in place? Things of that nature. It's a deep dive into the firewall, inbound, outbound trafficking, filtering, things of that nature. Sometimes it's even an assessment of the IT room or server room, as often it's called. Is it locked? So just authorized access. Are there any vulnerabilities? Are there water pipes? over top, which, you know, if a water pipe breaks over your IT equipment, you got a world of hurt. So it's, you know, sometimes it's the physical as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's even penetration testing. So that's, those are typically paid assessments. They take 2-3 days to run, full reports, whole 9 yards. Often, as I said before, you know, larger companies are utilizing these to really make sure, you know, a lot of times they have IT providers want to make sure they're not leaving any open doors. It's a sanity check. That's what it is.
Yeah. So can you explain what penetration testing is?
Yes, penetration tests. Some people call it a pen test. Basically, the goal of a penetration test is to ethically try to hack into your system using the tools that we have available today. And so that's the goal. And it's the best way to make sure that there are no open vulnerabilities. And so there's a lot of terms out there. You're going to hear terms like white hat, black hat. You know, a black hat is really the term given to a cyber criminal with unethical intentions. And a white hat is more refers to an IT provider such as ourselves who are going to put on the hoodie and we're going to try to hack into your system and see if we can get in. And if we can't, then great. You're probably not vulnerable or very limited vulnerability. You also see some terms like white box, black box, gray box. It's kind of to simplify it, a white box is we have a decent amount of working knowledge of your network and we try to hack in. A black box, some people want to view from a cyber criminal's perspective where we don't really know anything about your network. So we have to go in and do a discovery and then try to hack in. And a gray box is kind of something in between. But penetration testing is often used by larger corporations, especially ones with IT departments who are pretty sure they got everything locked down and they just want to hire an outside party to say, okay, we're locked down, try to get in. And if they do, they benefit, right? So they benefit, they finding places where they can make improvements. So that's what that is.
So how does this tie into the compliance audits like the PCI and the HIPAA? So compliance audits, it's a great question. They go to a whole nother level. So they include all the security network assessments and making sure everything is secure. But it then goes to the next level, really diving into the policies and procedures of the company. And so, you know, it's policy rules or privacy rules. Sorry, privacy rules. It's breach notification procedures. It's personal information security procedures. You know, so what they do is they assess the network and then they start looking at things. And to give some examples, and I'm going to use HIPAA as an example. That's for healthcare, and that's one of the biggest ones in the market today. So they're going to come in and they're going to look at people's tests and make sure there's no written personal information down on any paper, because that is a big policy violation. They're going to look at the reception area. And if you notice, when you go into your dentist office or your healthcare provider, you're going to hopefully see all monitors turned away from you, so you have no way of seeing information that's on the monitors. You know, typically they would be facing out. So they're going to really look at all of those procedural activities. You know, it can be simple things like we had a client that at the reception desk, they had a PC and they had a USB hard drive sitting right there with backup information. And all it would take is someone to look over and say, oh, it's a hard drive. Snatch and run, and you just had a security breach. And a lot of times there are very simple things like that people don't think about. Yeah. And so that's what an audit does. And so they're going to go in, they're going to make sure not only that those procedures are in place, but they're well documented in employee handbooks, and that all the employees, it's very clear how they need to operate day to day. And so audits, compliance audits are much more detailed, in depth. They take a week or two to accomplish. Full reports, typically you're going to have a lot of things you have to do, but it's important because, you know, if you do have a security breach, you're less open to lawsuits if you are fully HIPAA compliant. So that's why it's such a big thing.
Good to know.
Yes.
Very good to know.
Yes.
Well, we are up to my tip of the week, and I have some notes because I'm going to share some Cyber Black Friday and Cyber Monday tips for you to stay safe while shopping online, because we know that more people this year are shopping online due to COVID, and we want you always to shop safely and securely. And so here are some 9 tips for you guys to be aware of. So one is be very careful of your emails. We've talked about this before. Make sure you know where the email is coming from. If they are sending you Black Friday deals, Cyber Monday deals through your email, just go to the retailer's website, because more than likely, if they're sending you an email with a deal, it's going to be on their website. So,
and especially if there's a link to get details of the deal.
Yes, which brings me to my second point. Avoid emails with attachments, because those cyber criminals, they love to get in, and one way they get in is through those attachments. So just don't click on attachments. More than likely, the retailers are not going to send you private coupons or anything like that. Everything is going to be out in the open, and the deals are going to be on their websites as well.
Good point.
So, which is my third tip, really, is to make sure you're researching those deals and making sure that those emails are totally legit. The other thing is update your browser. Your browser, in fact, I just got a notification to update my Chrome browser. So, update those browsers, because they take measures to secure, the online experience as well. The other thing to do is make sure that you're using a safe connection, which is the HTTPS. The S stands for secure. So when you go to a website, you should see the little lock. That is going to tell you that that website is secure and that it's safe to do business on.
Especially to enter in, and purchase stuff.
Which I will get to.
Oh my goodness, I'm jumping in. I'm going to let you just talk. Sorry.
He's taking over my tips. Make sure you're using strong passwords. We've also touched on this before. We touched on it a little bit today. Passwords are very, very important, and they should be unique and, strong for every website that you go to, so that your hackers can't figure out the patterns, right? This is a biggie. Avoid public Wi-Fi. You want to make sure that, especially if you're using credit cards and stuff like that, giving private information, that you're not on a public network, because they are not secure. And that is an easy way for somebody to get in and hack.
Can I throw in a quick story, just a very quick story about that?
Mm-hmm.
There was an article years ago. There was some guy who at Dallas-Fort Worth Airport he went in, sat down in the waiting area, and just set up a public Wi-Fi address of his own. And people came in, they connected to it, and he started stealing all their information. So yeah, you just never know what a public Wi-Fi, how private and secure it is. So, so anyway, that was my.
And also, most people, you have a hotspot on your phone. So, I would just use your cellular, or, use your spouse's hotspot or something if you have to get on Wi-Fi. Credit cards, no debit cards. Use your credit cards, because they provide an extra layer of protection for you when you're shopping online. The last tip, number 9, is verify your account statements. So after you're done shopping, go in, make sure you double and triple check your statements to make sure that nobody actually got a hold of your card, and report anything that looks suspicious. And those are my tips for some safe shopping this Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Wayne, we are up to your tip.
Well, I guess I have 2 tips now. If you're going to do a Facebook Live, make sure you put your phone on silent. So my apologies for that. No, I'm going to bring up an old one that we've talked about before, and it still amazes me how often we come across customers, new customers, with PCs that still have Windows 7, or we've even found older. So you really want to make sure you get those updated. The reason, again, is as part of an operating system, that's the big vulnerability point for attackers. And so, Microsoft, if we're talking Windows, is constantly doing security updates to make sure that they are not, they're not insecure. And so they stopped doing updates to Windows 7 a year ago, or almost a year ago. So the thing is, there are vulnerabilities in Windows 7, and that's what hackers are looking for, ways to get in. So please get those updated. Sometimes you can do a free upgrade. Just kind of depends on the age of your PC,
right.
and your operating system. But if you have questions on that, please reach out. I'll be glad to talk to you about what's the most cost-effective way to get you to Windows 10.
There we go. All righty, what's coming up next week?
Next week, more and more, we are getting approached with the conversation of customers who have a server, an old server, and they're getting to the point where they have to make a decision. Are they going to update their server, or should they start investigating moving to the cloud and getting away from hardware altogether? And there's great pros and cons, and that's what we're going to talk about next week.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, as always, you can contact us with the email or the phone number below. And from our family to yours, we hope you have a safe and happy and healthy Thanksgiving. Be careful with those Black Friday and Cyber Monday deals. And we will catch you all next week. Take care.
Bye now.